I spent weeks studying the interviews, routines, and documented habits of 100 self-made millionaires, ranging from tech founders to real estate moguls, and I found the same 7 patterns over and over again. These weren't all Silicon Valley CEOs or high-frequency finance bros. They came from different industries, different countries, and started at different ages, yet they all displayed the exact same behaviors. One habit actually sounds lazy when you first hear it, and another is something most of us are trained never to do from the time we are in school. I'm telling you right now, if you steal even 2 of these habits and integrate them into your life, your income trajectory will change. Pay close attention, because number 7 was the most shocking discovery of all, and it's the one thing that separates the comfortable from the ultra wealthy. Before we dive into the list, we have to address a hard truth. Why do most people never get rich? Most people spend their lives focused on the wrong things. They focus on fleeting motivation, they repost hustle quotes on Instagram, and they pride themselves on simply working hard. But working hard is a baseline requirement. It's not a strategy. I realized that millionaires optimize for 3 specific things: decisions, environment, and leverage. Getting rich is less about how much sweat you put in and more about behaving differently and consistently over a long period. I noticed a recurring theme. The poor often copy other poor people because it feels safe, while millionaires copy systems. They don't guess, they follow a blueprint. If you feel like you're running on a treadmill, working more hours but staying in the same financial spot, it's because you're following a worker's map instead of a builder's map. The first thing I found is that millionaires obsess over skills, not money. This is one of the primary wealth building strategies that people overlook. Most people chase a paycheck or a specific dollar amount, but millionaires understand that money is just a byproduct of the value you bring to the marketplace. They focus on high-income skills like sales, communication, marketing, negotiation, and leadership. Think about it. If you lose all your money, but you keep your ability to sell or your ability to lead a team, you can make that money back in a fraction of the time. Most broke people chase shortcuts or get-rich-quick schemes instead of becoming more valuable individuals. If you want to change your bank account, you have to change your skill set first. A great practical rule I saw across several of these 100 millionaires was the commitment to spend at least 1 hour every day improving one specific high-income skill. They don't try to learn everything. They try to become world-class at the one thing that moves the needle. Skill creates income, and income, when managed correctly, creates wealth. The second thing they all do is protect their time aggressively. Millionaires treat time like the only currency they can't print more of. While most people are happy to let an hour slip away scrolling through social media or sitting in a meeting that could have been an email, the wealthy have a different default setting. They have fewer distractions and even fewer meaningless meetings. They operate on intentional schedules. I noticed that most people spend their best, most energetic hours consuming content created by others, while rich people spend those same hours producing. It's a complete shift in perspective. Ask yourself, what did you spend your last 3 hours doing? Was it an investment in your future, or was it a cost? Millionaires understand that saying no to almost everything allows them to say a massive yes to the few things that actually matter. They don't trade their time for a flat hourly rate for long. They look for ways to disconnect their time from their earnings as quickly as possible. This leads us to the third thing. They use leverage. This is perhaps the biggest wealth secret in existence. While average people trade their time for money forever, millionaires build systems that work while they sleep. I broke leverage down into 4 forms that appeared in almost every millionaire story: money, media, people, and technology. Money leverage is using capital to make more money, like investments. Media leverage is creating content, like this video that can be viewed by millions while I do something else. People leverage is hiring a team to execute your vision. Technology leverage is using software or code to automate tasks. Think of it this way: one worker with a shovel can only dig so much in a day. That same worker with a bulldozer can move mountains. The bulldozer is the leverage. If you aren't using one of these 4 forms of leverage, you're working way harder than you need to be. You are essentially trying to build a skyscraper with a hand drill. We're about halfway through, and the next habit is probably the biggest mindset difference I found in my research. This one alone explains why some people stay broke for decades, while others skyrocket in just a few years. It's about how you perceive time and results. Before we get into it, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me which of the habits we've covered so far you already do in your daily life. Do you protect your time, or are you currently working on a high-income skill? Let's keep going. The fourth thing is that they think long term. This sounds simple, but it is incredibly rare in practice. Millionaires are masters of delayed gratification. Most people quit a project or a business after 3 months because they don't see the money hitting their account yet. They want the dopamine hit of a win immediately. But many of the millionaires I studied looked like they were failing for years. They were building the foundation, networking patiently, and investing consistently when the market was down. They understand that results are often invisible at the beginning. It's like bamboo. It grows underground for years, establishing a massive root system, and then it shoots up 90 feet in a few weeks. If you're feeling frustrated right now because you aren't seeing the momentum you want, ask yourself if you're thinking in months or in decades. What if you're only 6 months away from your first major breakthrough? Most people quit at the 5-month mark. Millionaires don't. The fifth habit is that they control their environment. Rich people are psychological engineers of their own surroundings. They realize that your environment silently shapes your income. This includes the people you spend time with, the information you consume, and even the physical space you work in. You've probably heard that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, but millionaires take this to an extreme. They are ruthless about cutting out negative influences, toxic friends, or people who have no ambition. They audit who they follow on social media and what kind of news they allow into their brains. If your environment is filled with constant negativity or people telling you why things won't work, you have to fight your surroundings just to stay motivated. Millionaires make success the path of least resistance by surrounding themselves with winners and high-quality information. If you want to change your life, start by changing your default inputs. Sixth, they risk wisely. Some believe millionaires are reckless gamblers who got lucky. Studies showed otherwise. They're risk-averse, yet define risk differently. A millionaire's biggest risk is complacency as the world changes. They assess prospects, reduce the downside or potential loss, and act promptly and decisively when the odds are favorable. People stay in jobs they hate thinking it's safe, yet that's the riskiest decision because you'll lose your most valuable asset: time. Millionaires prefer calculated risks in enterprises and investments with unlimited gain and controllable loss. Asymmetric risk game, one win offsets 100 small losses. The seventh and most important thing is their possession obsession. This is the best wealth building approach. Actual wealth multiplier is ownership. Every 100 millionaire I studied owned something. Some owned businesses, equity, real estate, IP, and brands. Owners get rich, workers get paid. Income stops when you stop working, but assets keep producing value. Even small ownership develops enormously. Living your life helping others build their dream will only yield scraps. Tables matter to millionaires. The final step to financial freedom is becoming an owner. Although it requires greater responsibility, it offers independence no income can equal. Any of these 7 habits can begin today. You don't need $1 million to plan ahead or save time. A degree isn't needed to master a high-income skill or change online followers. Unfortunately, few do these things consistently, thus few become affluent. Millionaires' habits are simple, yet hard. They require discipline most people lack. What habit are you starting this week? Do you want to stay the same or change? If you like this breakdown, subscribe and watch our next video on constructing leverage from scratch. The road to prosperity is long, but you must begin. See you later.